and welcome to Basic Folk, where we have honest conversations with folk musicians on the bluegrass situation. It's me, Cindy House. Hello. Thank you for finding us today and checking out the show. Very pleased to have Olive Klug on the program today. We'll get to that momentarily. But first, have you signed up for Basic Folk's newsletter? Oh my gosh, it's so easy to do. If you have not done it yet, there is a link in the show notes that you can click on and sign up there. Or you can go to our website, basicfolk.com. You can follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Basic Folk Pod. Or if you'd like, you can become a financial contributor. Give us like $5 a month and help us produce this darn show. Link in the show notes, or you can go to basicfolk.com/donate. Okay. Oh my gosh, I hope everyone's having a wonderful summer. My computer is very hot all the time, and the fan is constantly going off. And I also feel like since I'm back on the clock for a little while after being on maternity leave for a month, my eyes are totally not used to computer screens anymore. And does that happen to anyone else where you just like can't look at a computer screen after you haven't looked at one for like a month? Well, I'll keep you posted because I know you'll probably want to know about that. Okay, let's get to the show. Olive Klug and myself recorded this interview in my closet while they were in Portland, Maine to play a show. They stayed along with their band, Cori, Haley, and Payton, and it was a real pleasure to be around them for a few days. You can tell that Olive is at their best around their band, and it is a true collaboration on stage. Shout out to the whole crew for leaving such a remarkable impression on me and my wife, and for assembling some baby furniture while they were staying at our house. In our conversation for Basic Folk, Olive takes us on a journey through their musical upbringing, exploring their childhood influences, including their father's eclectic taste in 60s and 70s rock and folk. Olive discusses their love for Joni Mitchell and Taylor Swift, which inspired them to learn guitar and develop their own tastes. They provide insights into their early internet presence on platforms like YouTube and Tumblr. Remember Tumblr? And how these shaped their creative expression and online identity. Olive also touches on their experience of transitioning to a music career, going viral on TikTok, and the emotional and practical challenges that come with it. Additionally, they delve into how their psychology background and neurodivergence inform their songwriting, live performances, and day-to-day life. Our conversation wraps up with thoughts on the productive chaos of touring, the importance of community in the folk world, and their aspirations for long-term sustainable growth in the music industry. Let us all take note. Everyone belongs at the Olive Klug Show. They leave their glow wherever their travels take them. We'll listen to a song from Olive's new album. This is What to Make of Me, and then we'll get to our conversation with Olive Klug on Basic Folk.
Quite what to do when I can't stop thinking of you. Itself too well to aimless driving. As I make my way to Georgia, I'll leave a candle burning for you. I wonder if you're wishing you were the flame. I wonder if your lips are in the shape of my name. You might know that I'm a bit obsessed with your dirty blonde shag and the way that you dress. I wanna just crawl around in your life, maybe share a cocoon. One day we can fly, fly, fly. Well, I thought I was immune to this kind of pining, but it lends itself too well to aimless driving. As I make my way to New York City, I think of the way that you called yourself pretty and wonder what kind of word you might use for me.
Just for context, we're in the closet.
Yes.
We are in Cindy's closet.
Yeah. How do you like it in here?
It's very cozy. I like a small space. It makes me feel safe and cozy.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me, Olive.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too. Yay. I'm so excited to be here.
So you grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I was wondering if you could set the scene for like what music looked like for you in the early years, like what was being listened to at home? Was anyone playing or singing music?
Yeah.
How much live music did you encounter growing up?
Yeah. Well, I'll take you from my childhood up through like high school, because I feel like there's a lot of important stuff in there. My dad is a big classic rock fan, but also dabbles in the folk world, but like very much 60s and 70s, was super into Led Zeppelin, showed me the Beatles, showed me David Bowie, T-Rex. I'm trying to think of other people he was into. He was really into Prince also.
Wow.
He was into...
cool dad.
Very cool dad. Yeah. Neil Young. And then like he showed me like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and Joni Mitchell. And I remember really being like stuck on Joni Mitchell, even as young as being like 4 years old. My family lived in California, and I remember listening to the song California in the car. And I remember asking my parents, I was like, are we going to see Joni Mitchell when we're here? Because I like loved the song California so much. And yeah, I just remember she really stuck out to me when I was a kid. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so cool. And it really resonated with me as like young as 4 years old. So that was really fun and cool. And my dad used to play this game with me in the car where he would like give me $1 to guess the artist or guess the song.
How cool.
Yeah. So I feel like he like gave me a pretty solid 60s and 70s music education, like throughout many genres. Like he was definitely like into classic rock, but like I would say just like throughout any genres of 60s and 70s music, he was really intentional about like getting me to know what was up. So I know what's up. Yeah. And then once I kind of got to middle school, high school, I started developing my own tastes. And first was, of course, Taylor Swift. When I was in middle school, she was putting out her first couple of albums. So that was like the late 2000s, early 2010s. And I was just like totally obsessed. And I would say that Joni Mitchell and Taylor Swift together, I feel like these are such basic answers. But they kind of like listening to them made me feel like, oh, like I should learn to play guitar, because I had been singing from a young age and like been doing musical theater when I was a kid from a young age. But then I went to summer camp and my camp counselor played guitar, and I was like, oh, I want to learn how to play guitar. So I started learning to play guitar in middle school. And, you know, I think I learned how to play Love Story by Taylor Swift was like my first guitar song. And then also I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. It was like that era of like late 2000s acoustic music. And then after that, I got to high school and I was like, okay, I have to be cool now. I can't just be listening to Taylor Swift out in the open. I have to get cool. So that is when the like 2010s Portlandia hipster twee indie folk, indie rock world came into my radar. Like I was really, one of the first concerts I went to in high school was Fleet Foxes. And that just totally changed my life. I had never been to a folk concert before. And like, I remember like hearing someone play mandolin and I was like, what are they playing? That's so cool. And there were like 10 of them on stage and it was like outside 2011 Portland, like Edgefield, which is like this like big field right outside of Portland. And it was like a beautiful summer day. And I'd like never been to a concert without my parents before. And it was like truly life-changing seeing Fleet Foxes in like 2011. And yeah, and then I got like really into the Shins and got pretty into this band called Dr. Dog. I'm trying to think of other people I was into in high school. Regina Spektor was huge for me in high school. Bright Eyes. I also discovered Kimya Dawson when I was in high school. So yeah, all of this kind of like indie twee, Portlandia world. It was like the heyday for that. And I was very into it.
Being in Portland, Oregon, were you aware of like what was going on at like K Records in Olympia, Washington?
I was not. So in high school, I grew up in the suburbs. So not in Portland, but like slightly outside of Portland. So I wasn't actually that aware of the actual music scene in Portland. I just went to the Crystal Ballroom like every other weekend to see a concert, which was fun. But yeah.
What makes me really happy in listening to this answer, first of all, you are really good at answering a question like that, like so clearly and thoroughly. I'm very impressed at your question answer ability. But what makes me really pleased is to hear that you are of an age where you were not listening to music and developing your tastes during like the boy band era and the like Britney Spears and the Christina Aguilera.
But
and like,
don't get it twisted. I am a pop girly. I love pop music. So if there is any, we will not be talking shit on pop music.
No, we're not talking. We're not talking shit on pop music, but it actually makes me very happy that like Taylor Swift and Joni Mitchell are the people, because don't get me started on the Telecommunications Act of 1996 and how that just like homogenized radio and like all of our tastes and everything.
Huh, I don't know that much about that.
It's like, I talk about it occasionally, pretty frequently on the podcast, where it was like this legislation that was passed in 1996 that allowed media organizations to own monopolies in markets across the U.S. So like your Clear channels came in and bought all the radio stations. And then that's why radio is like so bland now.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it was just like if you think about the radio at the beginning of the 90s and the end of the 90s, it's like wildly different. Like what was on Top 40 radio, like the beginning of the 90s, it was like Prince, Indigo Girls, Whitney Houston, Pearl Jam. And at the end of the 90s, it was like boy bands. Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears.
Oh, that is actually really interesting. Yeah. You got to have a little bit of all of it, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
A big part of your story is the internet
Yeah.
and being online and being on TikTok and having a really large following on TikTok and Instagram. So you were born in 1997. And we were talking about this earlier, how like the internet was around like for the beginning of your life, but it was still like a little baby and kind of like not what the monster it is today.
Yeah.
So like what has your online life looked like?
Yeah. Well, I think I was an only child and both my parents worked. So the internet has been a friend of mine from a very young age, honestly. When I was like really young, like 9 or 10, I started getting into YouTube. And so, yeah, like I don't know when YouTube was started, but like maybe 2008. I don't remember, but yeah,
2005.
2005. Okay. Well,
Just celebrated its 10-year anniversary. No, 20 years. Oh my God, what years? Is it 2015? No. 20-year anniversary of YouTube.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I started getting into it in those early years, like 2007, 2008. And I loved like random core. I was like so into like the random humor because I was like a kid. And I loved like Shoes. You know that video? It was like,
oh my God, Shoes.
And like Fred. And I don't know, I loved random core internet. I was like so into it. And then me and my best friend named Sarah, we started this YouTube channel called Penguins Are Eating My Bra. And we were children, obviously, so it was silly. But we just like made like stupid little skit videos and we edited them in iMovie, and then we would make like music videos. Like there's this music video that I think is still on there that's like to Avril Lavigne's What the Hell, and we dressed up in crazy costumes and like did, I don't know, we just had fun with it. So much of my childhood, like my nostalgia is like making silly little videos and posting them online. So like it was like part of my life from a very young age. And it was like fun. It was like engaging our creativity. I think my parents were worried about it at first, but then we were like, I think they were like, it's like, they're like writing skits. They're writing, I don't know. It was very creative. The whole process was very creative. And we'd spend full days, full weekends sometimes like making these videos when we were like 10 or 11 years old. I mean, that was really fun.
So precious.
Yeah, it was so cute. I really had a good time doing that. Like really positive memories from my childhood. And then in high school, I started doing Tumblr. If you were into Tumblr, that was, I think, problematic, but still fun. And it was much more anonymous. It wasn't about like TikTok is so much about like, this is me, this is my face, this is what I look like, this is what I sound like. Tumblr was way more about like this is my inner world or whatever. So you would just like repost like things that you thought looked cool. You would repost songs. You would like repost TV shows that you liked. You could be in like a fandom for a TV show or a artist or something like that. And yeah, it was like a fun way to just like develop your individuality. But it also, I think there was like a lot of toxic stuff on there for teenagers, like a lot of like stuff around like self-harm and eating disorder stuff. And so I was exposed to a lot of that when I was in high school, and that wasn't great. But yeah, I mean, Tumblr was a huge part of my life when I was that age. That's part of how I discovered that whole world of like indie rock and indie folk when I was in high school. So yeah, still a big part of my life.
You're a very shy and awkward little kid, and that is like very funny to think about because you were also really into musical theater.
Yeah.
And you can hear theatrical.
How do you know I was a shy and awkward little kid?
I read it somewhere.
Oh, okay.
On, believe it or not, on the internet.
On the internet. My digital footprint is huge. It's crazy to think about. Like, I've been making videos and posting them online since
Well, I will
10.
say I didn't get that deep. Like I didn't find your Tumblr and I didn't find your 11-year-old YouTube videos, but I did find that you were like super into musical theater, which is pretty cool because you can hear like theatrical elements in your music, but in like a really kind of creative, unusual way. Like it's not Miss Saigon or anything like that.
Yeah.
So what kind of theater are you drawn to, and how have you worked to implement that type of theater into your songs?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've worked to implement it necessarily. I just did a lot of it when I was a kid and in high school. And I think that part of what drew me away from it is that I didn't get super obsessed with musicals like the rest of the kids in my like musical theater cohort.
Let's just talk about that for a second. Like I remember when I was in high school, my musical theater friends were so obsessed with it. They would like cast the, like at lunch, the lunch table, they would like cast the play before like the, you know, who do you think is going to get this part? Who do you think is going to get that part?
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I probably participated in that in high school, but yeah, I mean, I just didn't like, I liked musicals, but I didn't get I was of the Hamilton era, and like I liked Hamilton. I went to see it. It was a great show, but I wasn't like listening to it I've always preferred to listen to mostly like folk music or like indie music of some kind or pop music, like just in my own world. I've never really been like I'm going to listen to musical theater for fun type of person, but it was so fun to participate in it. And I think probably just like I have by osmosis absorbed things from musical theater. But yeah, that was part of why I didn't go into it. I was like, I think a lot of people thought that I was going to go to musical theater school, but I didn't, because I was like, I don't think I'm obsessed with this enough.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was much more obsessed with like songwriters and stuff.
Cool. Your singing voice is really cool, and it's described as a soprano voice. And I find the soprano voice parts to be like so vulnerable and like kind of scary to think about singing. How did you discover and embrace your soprano voice?
Honestly, I think I don't. This is interesting because I don't think I don't identify as someone with like a soprano voice. I think I just have like a strong head voice. And this is also like where my musical theater training comes in. But in musical theater, it's really encouraged for you to belt really high, like use your chest voice up high. And I was never able to do that. And I was like I can belt about as high as like a standard tenor can belt, which is like a B flat. So I can only belt a B flat, but like in musical theater, you're supposed to be able to like belt a D or a C or a D or an E. And I could never do that. And so I worked on developing my head voice and my mixed voice because I knew that my voice just never would be able to go up there with my chest voice. So that's kind of part of it. And another part of it is like being so inspired by Joni Mitchell. She has that beautiful like head voice, soprano voice that like just goes all over the place. And I think I like learned so much about writing songs and about song structure from her that it's like seeped into my music. So I think a combination of like my chest voice just not going up high and being inspired by Joni.
See what you think of this question. You have a high, what did you don't call a soprano voice? What did you call
just
it?
a head voice.
So you have a pretty high head voice when it comes out of you. And you are a genderqueer person.
Yeah.
So when I wrote this question, I had the word soprano in there. So let's just think about it in that term. So like soprano historically has been linked to like one gender in particular. Like when people think of a male singing in a higher register, they use the word falsetto.
Yeah.
But when it's a woman, it's soprano. And I feel like in thinking about how high you sing and how you are genderqueer, it's like reshaping the way that I'm thinking about vocal registers and when it comes to gender.
Yeah.
So how has your voice played into the ecosystem of your gender?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I've noticed like I'm not on any hormones or anything. I've like thought about it, but I am like worried about what it would do to my voice. But I just noticed like even watching videos of myself from a couple of years ago to now, I just like naturally speak in a lower register than I used to, which I think is interesting and cool. And I also think it's like kind of expanded my lower register a little bit, which has been really interesting. Like, I don't think my speaking voice is very high when I like speak with other people with like similar registers. I'm like, oh, I actually kind of speak lower in my own register. But yeah, I don't know how sometimes I'll like feel dysphoric when I listen to my own voice. Sometimes I will like listen to a take of my own music and I'll be like, oh, I sound too much like a girl in this. And like, so my producer has been like, oh, like, but you sound great. But I'm like, no, but like, it makes me feel weird sometimes to listen to my own voice. And I think that there's like a lot that my most recent producer and I did to kind of work with that and like mix the latest record to reflect a voice that I feel comfortable with and use takes that represent a voice that I feel comfortable with. And I think that like, yeah, I don't know. I think that I love my like high head voice register. I don't want to lose that. I think it's like such a special thing. But I think also like existing more in like some of my music existing in a lower register helps with that. And I think I do sing higher than most female musicians, but I also sing lower. I just have not to toot my own horn, but I sing the very large range, but people tend to focus on the high register, but I'm like, I can get down there too. So I don't know.
Cool. Amazing answer.
Yeah.
You're a lyrics person.
Yes.
Is what I hear. You like a good melody, but you're showing up for the lyrics.
Yeah.
How did you come to discover that about yourself, and how does it impact the type of music listener you are and the type of songwriter you are?
Yeah, it affects everything. I mean, it's just like I'm actually right now learning to listen to music. I'm like challenging myself to get into music that is more...
Get into the vibes.
Yes, getting into the vibes. I've been listening to some shoegaze recently. This is like not what you asked, but I've been listening more recently for the first time to like vibes-based music rather than lyrics-based music. But I think it's just like impacted who my favorite musicians are. Like Joni Mitchell is such a lyrics person. Kimya Dawson is one of my favorite artists, and they're such a lyrics person. It's just like mostly the lyrics. And I just feel like it has impacted how I write. I write based on my feelings and based on what I want to say, not necessarily based on like catching a vibe, which I feel like that's kind of how melody-based people write. It's like they write based on catching a vibe and then the lyrics like kind of come afterwards. And I write based on like a very specific feeling I want to verbalize. But yeah, I'm learning to combine them. I think that like this album really does combine them more than my last one. My first album, I think, was very just like lyrics based. It was just like, this is how I'm feeling, la 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 la, verse, chorus, verse, bridge. But this next one, this Lost Dog, which is what I just released, I feel like the song Fleeting is a really good example. Like it is about the lyrics, but I really feel proud of how I captured the vibe that I was trying to put out within the melody and within the production. Like I feel very proud of that. And same with Train of Thought. I feel like the lyrics don't really make sense, but like the vibe of the song, when you put it all together,
that's like the whole point of the song.
Something. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that I'm like really wanting to explore that part of myself, and I want to work on combining that in new ways. And yeah, I feel like this little stint into listening to shoegaze is really, it's been fun. I'm getting into the Sundays, and I feel like there's such
nice.
a good vibe for summer, but I have no idea what they're saying. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're saying. It just matters that like feels like this light, whimsical summer day. So that's fun.
Have people asked you about your psychology degree and how that might inform your writing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people have.
I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I literally based a song off of a therapeutic concept on this last album based on opposite action, which is a DBT therapy concept. And I remember learning about it and like questioning it in the moment and then trying to implement it into my life and then coming away questioning it again. But it's basically the concept of like, it's a fancy way of saying fake it till you make it. If you're feeling really depressed, you're supposed to just do the opposite of what your first instinct is to do. So like if you want to lay in bed all day and mope around, you're supposed to like get up, get dressed, go to the beach, have a good time, do like just doing the opposite of what your first instinct is to do, because oftentimes your first instinct is to like practice unhealthy habits. So that's literally a direct reflection of that. And I feel like self-help, a lot of people have like told me is a lot about, or is related to parts work. I've never even done parts work, but therapists have come up to me after my shows and been like, I have showed this song to my clients in therapy. And I think that's really cool.
What is parts work?
Parts work is where you like kind of separate. Have you ever seen the movie Inside Out?
Yes.
It's kind of like that. It's like you personify like different parts of yourself and like your different feelings and your different like past selves, or like the part of you that's like your child self and your adult self, you know, like just, it's like separating yourselves into different mini personified parts.
It's interesting to hear that psychology has impacted your music more than musical theater.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's more conscious with psychology, but it's less conscious with musical theater. It just kind of like works its way in there. Yeah.
So during the pandemic, your career plans blew up, like a lot of people's did. You moved back home, you got a coffee shop job, you started posting music on TikTok. So up until 2021, the idea of like music as a career was kind of like off the table. It was like fun. It was a hobby.
Yeah.
What was the transition like when you started recognizing that music like could be a career for you?
It was so exciting at first, really scary, but really, really exciting. It was like that. My song Casting Spells is about that. It's about like, I can't believe that I feel like I cast a spell in my life to be able to do this as my career. Like, I feel like I made some kind of magic because I never thought this was even an option. And yeah, I just like, it felt so exciting, but also so overwhelming because I felt like a lot of my peers had been doing it since they were 18, like really doing it, really learning about the industry, going to school for like in Berkeley or something. And like, they really knew what they were doing. And I felt like I was a little behind. I like had no idea what the music industry was all about at all. I had no idea how to make money. I had no idea how to produce songs. Like, production was such a like foreign concept to me. I was like, I don't know like what I want in this song besides my guitar and my voice. And so like adding all of that, it was just also new and exciting. And then I feel like, yeah, I mean, my story goes, I got signed to a record label really shortly after moving to LA to pursue music. I released a record called Don't You Dare Make Me Jaded. A month later, they dropped me from that record label. And I had signed on for a 3-record deal, and they hadn't really even given it time to, like, they hadn't even given it time. They were like 1 month. They were like, first of all, they were like, send me your new music. Less than a month after that one had come out. I hadn't really written any new music. I don't tend to write new music until my previous album is out. And so I didn't have that much new music. And they gave it less than a month to like see how it was doing. And then they were like, okay, bye. And it left me feeling so unstable. And I was like, oh my God, it kind of like hit me with the realization that like, there's never going to be stability in this career. I'm never going to be able to like have stable, consistent income. And even if I do get like really famous and successful, stable and consistent income is still not a given for those people. So it's just like, yeah, I feel like I've been like dealing with that realization recently.
Maybe you need to open like a bar and grill.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Maybe I'll open a bar and grill.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. I've always thought about opening a coffee shop.
Just think about it.
I think a cafe, like a coffee shop. I've been a barista a couple times and I love coffee. And my biggest bone to pick with coffee shops, modern coffee shops, is they're either cozy and aesthetically pleasing or they have good coffee. You can never have both. Like the good places with good coffee are like so uncomfortable. They're like so sterile, just like all this like really hard wood and like fluorescent lights.
Yeah.
Or it's like really cozy with like thrift store lamps and like big chairs.
We talked about this, the $90 coffee mug in the back for sale.
Yeah, but then the coffee is bad. And it's like, can we combine good coffee with a cozy environment, please? Like, I don't know. And then like cozy environment, high quality coffee, and like acoustic shows. And I feel like I could combine all that and like
stability.
Open a cafe. I don't know. I would be down to open a cafe.
Listen, I feel like that coffee shop truth, it's like truer words have never been spoken on this podcast.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to invest in my hypothetical cafe.
Klug's Coffee.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like, what's the name? Like when you are pulling a shot, I feel like there's like an opportunity to like use your last name in the action of pulling a shot. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Yeah, like Klug.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
I took some, listeners, I took some allergy medication before I started doing this interview, and I really feel like it's kicking in. I read that you tend to be a competitive person. I
don't know where you're reading all this stuff. I'm like,
is it true?
Like, yeah, but like, I don't know where you're reading it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't know that people knew all this about me.
So I'll explain my research techniques to you after we're done here. But yes, I read that you are a competitive person. So it made me wonder, like, in having the experience of going viral a few times on the internet, like, how does your competitive nature impact you when you go viral or when you don't go viral?
Yeah. I mean, it has been a lot of, like, this whole thing has just been so much, like, emotional work. Being a musician, being somebody who exists on the internet, being, like, someone who's public facing. It's a ton of emotional work. And it's addictive. Like, you get addicted to virality. And the thing that's the worst about it is you can't actually control when you get it or when you don't. At least, I mean, like, yeah, other things that people are addicted to, it's like you can just pay for it. I mean, that's horrible to say, but like virality is so incredibly addictive and the attention is so incredibly addictive. And then when you post something and you don't get it, it's so easy to spiral into self-hatred. And like when I was posting every day on the internet, I would like write a new song and I'd be like, I'm really proud of this new song. And then I'd post it and then it wouldn't get the response I wanted. And I'd be like, okay, fuck that song. I'm never going to release it. Because I was so caught up in like the attention and the validation and like that being the only thing that mattered. And this was kind of like during my first album cycle. And like my label was encouraging of that. And I just feel so lucky to now be with a label who doesn't really care about that as much. And to now be with a team that cares more about like the actual music I'm making and my live shows rather than how viral I go on the internet. Because it's just like you get your self-worth so wrapped up in it in a way that's really unhealthy. And I still sometimes feel that. I like remember when I posted my album announcement this year, I like literally 2 weeks ago, it didn't get as many likes as I wanted it to. It didn't get as many likes as I did the last time. And I was like, that's it. My career is over. I'm a piece of trash. Like, it's so easy to just like spiral into self-hatred based on how many likes you get. And it's really unhealthy and really bad for creativity and really bad for feelings of self-worth. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of work to undo that and posting less on the internet, really posting to announce shows, posting to announce my album, but like not engaging in that chase of virality recently because it's just, it'll destroy you, honestly.
For real.
Yeah.
How did developing and posting during the pandemic, when you are performing in front of your phone and in front of your computer, how did that practice help inform your live performances and make you like the live performer you are today?
Well, I do this thing that I still love that like I feel like is the non-toxic element of TikTok, TikTok lives, which is just where you set up your little phone and you play songs for people live on the internet. And I did that so much during the pandemic. I didn't like you couldn't see your friends, so my friends were the like 10 people that would show up to my lives in my phone. And yeah, it was so like I think that that's informed my live shows in that was all just about connecting on a human level with people. And I feel like I really try to bring that to my live shows. Like I try to bring a fun performance element because I like the performative aspect of it, but like I try to keep that like human connection element in there. Like I want it to feel like I'm just in my living room hanging out with you. And I feel like that I'm pretty successful at doing that. So, yeah.
Okay, long setup for this question. You have created this like incredible online fan base, and you are very known to certain groups of people who might like stream your music, come to a show in someone's dark, dirty basement and watch you play. Your new record, Lost Dog, you mentioned your new label, Signature Sounds. If people aren't familiar, it's this incredible label that's been around for over 25 years. It's one of my favorite record labels, and it always has been. But it's a label that came from a more like traditional folk world. And like that definition of tradition is like Folk Alliance Conference, Philly Folk Fest, folk radio DJs who like get CDs mailed to them, like nonprofit listening rooms, like people might be wanting to like buy CDs from you.
Yeah.
Like you have hundreds of thousands of followers online, but like tomorrow night in Portland, Maine, you're playing like a Discovery Series concert in a room that like people might want to buy CDs from you. They're also like sitting down.
CDs.
Well, how have you found like that particular like Signature Sounds kind of world folk scene, and how has that introduction been for you?
I really, really like it. There are obviously like issues with any community, but I feel so much better and more relaxed and more at peace in the like Folk Alliance world than I do in the like online TikTok world, especially as I get older. You know, like I started on TikTok when I was in my early 20s. I was with a lot of other like really young people. But I am getting older. Like I'm an adult now. Like I'm almost 28. I want to see a sustainable long career. I don't want to follow the like pop star trajectory where you kind of expire at 35. I mean, I think that there's a lot of like women proving that wrong. Like Lady Gaga is like super successful still, and she's in her late 30s. And like other people too. But I just feel like I didn't want that. I didn't want that like get really famous in your 20s and then expire and then you don't know what's up. And I feel like the folk world is so much more focused on like developing an artist career slowly and sustainably, rather than just kind of like burning them out at 30. And I just am like at a certain point I was like, oh my God, this feels like a sane environment. It feels like a sane environment that's focused on music and togetherness and community, and not necessarily on like this kind of like really toxic, intense, fast-paced music industry. So I feel so lucky to have found it, and to be a part of it. And like I just stumbled into Folk Alliance in 2023. And yeah, from there I feel like I've built this incredible community. And I really I feel like aligned with the values. Like I think that folk music is something that, yeah, like it is music of the people. It's music of social movements. It's music of unions. And I feel so aligned with that. And it just feels like good in my body. And to be a part of this, and rather than being like a part of the kind of like LA based music industry that I started my career in, it just feels so different and good.
when thinking about folk music and thinking about social change in music, that's something that you really enjoy, when people can come together and make a type of change. So for you, like, what are the key factors for social change in music? And then, like, what is the difference between, like, being political and inciting social change?
That's a good question. The difference between being political and inciting social change.
Maybe there is no difference.
Well, I think that, like, being political is just making a political statement, maybe just being like, this is what I believe. And, you know, if someone got up on a stage and said, you know, vote for Bernie Sanders or whatever, that would be a political statement. But I think that inciting social change is about building community and actually, like, doing something to facilitate that social change and not just saying what's on your mind. I think that they can go hand in hand. I think that oftentimes if you say what's on your mind and you, like, state what you believe and you have people who are inspired by you, that will incite social change. But I think that, like, taking the time to educate people, taking the time to fundraise, taking the time to facilitate actual community with the goal of social change is maybe the difference, like actually facilitating action versus just making a statement. And yeah, I think I try to incite social change where I can, but I feel like I'm still working at that. I don't exactly know what the best way to create change is, but I try to fundraise for local organizations or mutual aid funds at every show that I do. And that's been really cool. I feel like I've actually gotten to learn a lot about important things happening in, like, every city I go to. And I feel like this is, like, a line I say at every show, but I am really inspired by every show I go to, and I go to, like, places I never thought I would be. Like, I played in Davenport, Iowa, played in Birmingham, Alabama. I played in, I'm trying to think of, like, another, like, place I never thought that I would go. Just, like, all over North Carolina, all over the East Coast, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I never thought I would go to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But there's, like, amazing communities trying to create social change in every corner of the US. And it's not just the coasts. It's not just blue states. Like, there are people doing the hard, important work in states where it is really scary to be a marginalized person. And there are really cool, dedicated people who remain in those states trying to make change. And I think that sometimes, I don't know, I have some friends who have stuck on the coast their whole life. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like the resistance to exploring the middle of the country creates that division that we are all tired of having. So I don't know. I think I feel really lucky that I've gotten to, like, make important connections all over the country.
What makes a good adventure?
What makes a good adventure? Ooh, good gas station snack.
What is the snack?
Different every time, but I like a good barbecue chip. I like a good, high chews are my favorite candy. So whenever they have high chews, I'm really excited.
High chews. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like, I'm not gonna lie here. I like a good meat stick. I do. I like a good giant thing of Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Good gas station snacks. I'm like, why is that the first thing that comes to mind?
That's hilarious.
I'm really into gas stations because, like, we did this thing. We kind of fell off towards the end because it got stressful. But at the beginning of the tour, every time we stopped at a gas station, we would do gas station find of the day, and we'd, like, find a weird little thing in every gas station. I think I think romanticizing everything makes a good adventure because it's always, like, I feel like the outdoors community talks about this a lot, but I also think it applies to touring. Type 2 fun. Have you heard of, like, type 1 fun and type 2 fun? Okay, so type 1 fun is, like, going down a slip and slide, or, like, going on a boat, or, like, what's another type 1 fun? Like, going out dancing and getting drunk, you know, that's type 1 fun. Like, you're there, you know, you're having fun in the moment. You don't have to work for it. It's just obvious.
Okay.
But type 2 fun is, like, going on a backpacking trip. Type 2 fun is learning how to wakeboard. Type 2 fun also outside of the outdoors community is for me, going on a tour, going on like a month-long tour, it's like you are working for that shit. You are like you're unloading stuff every single day. You're seeing towns you never thought you'd see, some towns that you didn't have any intention of seeing. And you're like eating weird food, and you're like really tired, and you're like sleeping on couches. And like, it's really fun and beautiful and romantic when you look at it that way. But it can also be really hard. But it's like the fun that comes from like knowing you're doing something difficult and knowing you're putting in effort, but the payoff is like incredible. So I grew up going to summer camp. I grew up backpacking at summer camp. And so I look at touring very similarly to how I looked at backpacking. It's very type 2 fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Your new album is your second record, Lost Dog. It addresses aging as a neurodivergent free spirit, which like neurodivergent free spirit are like not words that you would normally think would mix well. How do you function when you're like on the road, or how do you take care of yourself knowing that your brain is maybe one way and your heart is like another way?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they don't go hand in. I mean, I think that neurodivergent in my experience is having ADHD. Not necessarily, like I feel like different types. So some neurodivergence can make people be very rigid. I'm not rigid. I'm actually very just like all over the place.
So
I'm
it's like leaning in.
Yeah, like type 2, or no, I said type 2 fun. Type B personality. You know, those videos are like your type B friend showing up. Oh, it's
my
like
gosh, I'm learning so much,
my God,
Olive.
TikToks, like, and it's like it's like the girl with crazy hair, and she's like getting out of a van, and she's like, oh, I brought snacks, and it's like a half-eaten gas station. Like it's just like
Puddles the dog.
It's Puddles the dog. It's like someone who's kind of chaotic but like full of love, and I feel like that is me. I am chaotic but full of love, and yeah. So it goes hand in hand with kind of the way my brain works. Like touring is hard, and especially when I'm like sick or not having a good time, but I need novelty, I need excitement, I need movement, I need all of that stuff for my brain to be happy. So the novelty, the movement, the excitement, it's all there, and it works for me. So it does go hand in hand pretty well for me.
Amazing.
To have that. But like the ADHD does make it hard to not lose things. As I was telling you earlier, we have Eyes on Fanny.
Eyes on Fanny.
The band, like the most important thing that I know where it is my fanny pack, has my phone, my keys, my wallet, and my checks from the shows. And so every like 20 minutes, my band is so tired of it. But like, if I can't locate my fanny pack, I'm like, eyes on Fanny, eyes on Fanny. And then one person will be like, Fanny's here. And I was carrying a black fanny pack at the beginning of tour.
Hard to spot.
And I lost it too many times. And so I had this really brightly colored fanny pack that I never use in my everyday life because I'm like, oh, it doesn't like look cute. But I switched to the bright colored fanny pack so I could locate it. So yeah, I think when you have ADHD, you just like develop methods that are kind of weird and untraditional of like how to function. And I feel like I've done a good job. Like the brightly colored fanny pack and the like constant tracking of it has been useful, because if I didn't do that, that thing would be long gone. So
totally.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a lightning round.
Yeah, sorry, I love to ramble, so we're chatting.
It's all good.
Cool.
All right. Where is your favorite place to sleep?
Favorite place to sleep? A huge hotel bed.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, huge, like a king bed in a nice hotel.
Your video for coming of age inspired this question.
Yes.
What is your ideal hairstyle?
Ideal hairstyle? Curly mullet.
Who is your favorite musical theater character?
Oh, that's a hard one.
After we learned that Olive's not really into musical theater.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, here's a new one. What is your favorite psychology vocab word?
Oh, that's also hard. Oh my God. These are hard to do just off the top of my head. I don't know.
Okay, skip.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. What is your favorite dish to cook in your van?
Oh, tofu scramble.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Who should I follow on TikTok?
The first person that came to mind is, I'm embarrassed to say because it's just like my crush, my like internet crush, but she knows that she's my internet crush.
Okay.
Rosemary Ace Rosas.
Okay.
She's my internet crush.
All right, last question. Olive Klug. What's going to save us?
Oh my God, these are too hard. These are too hard. What's going to save us is being patient and gentle and understanding of people who are different than us. And that goes always. That doesn't just go the way of, it does go the way of like conservative boomers learning how to use people's pronouns, but it also goes the way of young people understanding that it takes a long time for conservative boomers to understand how to use our pronouns. Like it means like having conversations with like veterans and like what they need and what they're lacking from the system. It means being open to hearing everybody's perspective and being open to having human connection and conversation with everyone, even if they seem super different from you and they seem like you wouldn't get along. It means having grace for everybody, even people who have messed up and done shitty things in the past, because it's an up-down fight at the end of the day. It's every regular American versus like, and I sound like Bernie Sanders here, versus the 1% who are trying to screw us all over. It's not,
Well, yes.
it's not left versus right. It's up versus down, I think.
Awesome. Olive, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This episode of Basic Folk was produced by Anthony Cabrera. Dietrich Strauss composes our music. Basic Folk is on the Bluegrass Situation Podcast Network. You can find all of our episodes there. You can check us out on basicfolk.com. You can listen at folkalley.com or Folk Alley's mobile app. You can search for Basic Folk on the SiriusXM app, or you can listen wherever you get your shows. If you enjoyed this episode, I suggest sharing it with a friend. Perhaps that friend who has an epic hairstyle that is maybe doesn't grow down, it grows out. So that friend that also enjoys swimming in whatever natural situation is available to them. Send it to that friend. Okay, thanks for listening all the way to the end. You're special and perfect just the way you are. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.